My name is Jasmine from White Lion Tech, and today we'll be taking a look at this absolute beast of an electric bike, the Panther V4 by eMovement. Now, full disclosure, eMovement sent me this review unit for, well, review purposes. But I didn't get to keep it, and this is not a sponsored video. So with that said, make yourself a cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. So the bike actually arrived pre-assembled, which was a very pleasant surprise and turned out to be a massive time saver. There was just some protective styrofoam that I had to remove from the frame first. And it also came with this box of goodies on the back. This included the battery charger, which is pretty compact and kind of resembles a laptop charger. We have this trusty all-in-one bike tool, a combination bike lock, one headlight, and also a reflective light for the back of the bike. It also came with this set of keys, which briefly made me feel like a badass motorcycle owner, but it's actually just to remove the battery and lock it back in place. I had to make a few little adjustments with the seat and the handlebars before I set off on my travels, but once that was done and dusted, I was ready for the road. And remember kids, safety first. Now I didn't want to damage the moneymaker, so I did invest in a full face helmet that I picked up on Amazon. And weirdly enough, it also had a Panther on the box. No such thing as coincidences, right? So let's talk tech specs. This bad boy is loaded with cool features for the price of around £1,499. Even compared to other e-bikes, this is still a pretty steep investment. But let's run through the features and see what you make of them. I'll pop them up on the screen right about now, just in case you'd like to pause the video and take a few notes. But the motor power is 250 watts on this specific model, which falls within the UK legal road limit. There's also a 500 watt version for off-road use only. Inside the frame sits a removable Panasonic battery. Now, having a battery from a well-known brand is always a huge plus, just on the off chance that something goes wrong and it needs replaced. These wheels are 20 by 4 inches wide, giving you that extra stability. It kind of felt like I was riding two fluffy clouds, and it made going up and down curbs an absolute breeze. One of my favourite parts of the bike is definitely the dual suspension. The front suspension is lockable, which is a really nice touch, and we also have a rear shock at the back. It's an HLT 100, which is a coil spring and rated for £1,000 to dampen shock. But it's worth noting that when it comes to rear shocks, the HLT 100s are definitely on the cheaper side of things. So I wouldn't advise riding it down more extreme mountain trails, unless you want to play Happy Wheels in real life. We also have a Shimano drivetrain with a chunky crankset which feels very, very sturdy. And the minimum rider height for this bike is 5'6". We have Logan Hydraulic disc brakes, and the max rider weight is 150 kilograms. The frame is made from aluminium instead of steel, but at 28 kilograms, this bike is still pretty hefty. That said, I do have weak little chicken arms, which doesn't help my case. If we take a look at the handlebars, we have this little display panel on the left-hand side here, which displays all sorts of information, including things like speed, mileage, and it also tells you how much battery power you have left. To the left of the display, there's 3 buttons. If you hold the middle one down for a few seconds, the bike will power up, and the plus and minus buttons can be used to alter the pedal assist modes. You'll find levels 1 through to 5, and there's also 0, which is no pedal assist mode. Now this would be okay if it had a throttle, but I wouldn't recommend it on the 250 watt version because it kind of needs that momentum to keep it going at the weight that it is. And if we take a look to the right hand side of the handlebars, we have a Shimano 7-speed shifter. I also installed a third-party phone holder just so I could use good old Google Maps. So in terms of how this thing looks, we have almost like a beefy BMX type of aesthetic going on, and I really like it. It has this cool matte black frame which looks pretty badass. eMovement have also quite literally got your back because they've installed these mud guards so you can avoid looking like you've had a terrible accident after you've been riding through the mud. We have a storage rack on the back, which is the perfect spot to store all of your essentials, and this model is also fully foldable for ease of use. Now I know that this isn't everyone's preference, but the frame is really well built, and I just think it's really handy being able to fold it up like a mini transformer. See example 1. This is my partner's dinky little Peugeot car, and it fits neatly in the back once I put the seats down. And we have 2 metal clamps to secure everything. We have one at the base of the handlebars here, and also one on the main frame. It also has this little charging port to the left hand side, so you have the option to charge the battery when it's still in the frame. If you'd like to prop your bike up outside of a coffee shop, or maybe take some spicy shots of it, we also have this kit stand on the side here, which comes in very handy. So who is this electric bike actually for? As a first time buyer, it's very user friendly, and the larger wheels really help with stability. It didn't feel like I was going to be ejected from my seat at any point, and I could go over any lumps and bumps with ease. The brakes were also super responsive, even when riding in the highest pedal assist mode. It's also a very reliable option for the pro e-bike rider, and can handle a little bit more wear and tear than your average e-bike. Now don't get me wrong, it's by no means a stunt bike, but it's well suited for rougher terrain and rides like an electric dream. That said, I still wouldn't be brave enough to ride it in torrential rainfall with the whole electrical situation going on down here, but eMovement do actually claim that the bike is rated as IP65 waterproof. Just make sure that you cover the battery port. What I will say is that if you're an average Joe or Joanna, it might not be the easiest bike to lift, and that is something to keep in mind. I'm 5'8", and it was fine manoeuvring the bike in general and adjusting the back of the bike with this little handle right here, but when it came to actually folding the bike up and lifting it into the car, I had to ask for help. So as I say, it's something to keep in mind, but all in all, eMovement are well worth checking out if you're in the market for a new e-bike. Their Panther V4 model is undeniably beautiful and has an impressive range of specs for the price. If you're interested in picking one up, use code WHITELION22 for a tasty little discount on your order. And if you have any more questions about the bike, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments, so fire away. Last but not least, a huge thank you to eMovement for sending over this bike for review purposes, and I really hope that you guys have enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.